Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into a universe that, well, like its main character, kind of half human, half ghost.
And historically, definitely half confusing.
Exactly. But we've got a stack of sources now that supposedly cuts through all that noise, the conflicting stuff, the lore questions, fan theories.
It really is the ultimate continuity puzzle, isn't it? I mean, when you have a TV show run for that long, a canon just accumulates static, you know? A random line here, a creator comment there. But what we have today, finally, is a much clearer path, and that's thanks to the new official narrative stuff that's come out.
Right. So our source material for this deep dive is basically building a definitive timeline, a canonical history of Danny Phantom.
Yep.
We're going from the original, 53 episodes, all the way through the new graphic novels, the officially sanctioned ones, starting with A Glitch in Time.
And the mission for you, the listener, is pretty straightforward. We're pulling out the info that actually matters now. We have to figure out the pecking order, the hierarchy of sources, so you know what facts are solid, and maybe which older ideas have been, well, officially overwritten or just kind of quietly dropped for consistency.
Okay, let's nail that down right now, because that hierarchy, it dictates everything else we're going to talk about. So what has the final word in the Danny Phantom universe today?
Right. So we have to stick to this idea of primary canon. That's supreme.
Primary canon, okay.
And that includes the original TV series, obviously. It laid all the groundwork. But, and this is the crucial part, the highest authority now really sits with the graphic novels that came after. Specifically, A Glitch in Time and its sequel, Fair Game.
Hold on. Why do the graphic novels get top billing over the show that started it all? Shouldn't the original have, like, seniority?
It's about how they function. You know, these novels, they aren't just like side stories or tie-ins. They are direct continuations of the narrative.
Okay.
And more importantly, they seem to have been created with the specific job of performing retcons within the universe.
Retcons. So changing stuff.
Yeah, clarifying things, correcting maybe inconsistencies, or just updating the basic lore, especially stuff the series finale left kind of hanging.
Yeah.
So when the new published story corrects an old one, the new version wins. That's the rule.
Gotcha. So to really crystallize that for everyone listening, the published story, the narrative itself, is the final judge. It doesn't matter what someone said later, right?
Exactly.
So if A Glitch in Time says X and season 1, or maybe a creator comment from years ago says Y.
X is the current truth.
Yeah.
The graphic novel wins. Those post-series comments from creators, look, they can be interesting, maybe popular, but they're just not binding if they clash with what's actually published in the story.
Right.
We basically classify those as apocrypha. They're secondary commentary, not official lore anymore.
Okay, apocrypha. And the video games. Like, I remember playing the Ultimate Enemy game and Urban Jungle. Where do they fit?
They slot into the middle category. Call that deuterocanon.
Deuterocanon. Okay.
They're often cool for, like, reinforcing themes or exploring some fun what-if ideas, but you generally treat them as alternate versions of events, different continuity.
So they don't really change the main timeline we're building here.
Nope. They don't have the authority to mess with the core mainline story. So, primary canon rules. And that rule, it lets us finally piece together a history that actually makes sense.
Right. Hierarchy established. Where do we start the story itself?
Well, to really get Danny's whole deal, his destiny, we actually have to go way, way back. Like before any Fentons, before any portals, we got to understand why ghosts even exist in this universe. Because the sources, especially the new ones, really force us to ditch that simple idea of a ghost just being, you know, someone's soul hanging around.
Okay, so we're starting deep. Primordial era. That sounds epic.
Oh, boy, man.
Based on old texts from the Ghost Zone.
It really is. The lore we have now says the universe started out totally unified. The human world, the Ghost Zone, they were just one thing. A single, seamless reality. Physical, spiritual, all mixed together perfectly.
No border, no separation, just whole.
Exactly. Existence was complete.
So the divide we see in the show wasn't how things were meant to be. It was like damage. A wound in reality. What could possibly be strong enough to rip reality in two?
It's described as this cataclysmic event, just called the Great Divide. It was a time of just overwhelming disharmony.
Disharmony, like a war or something else.
The lore hints it might have been a massive spiritual war, yeah. Or maybe just the sheer weight of really intense, conflicting emotions building up until the single reality couldn't take it anymore. It just fractured under the strain.
Wow. And the result of that fracture?
A really violent cosmic split. The texts literally say spirit was ripped from Earth, just tore reality into these two parallel dimensions.
Human world, ghost zone.
Right. But crucially, this didn't create two separate things. It created two incomplete halves of that original whole.
Ah, okay, so they're still connected somehow, just broken apart, running side by side ever since, maybe trying to get back into balance.
That's the idea. They're fundamentally linked but incomplete.
Okay, that sets up the separation. But you said this leads to the really critical update, the thing that fixes years of confusion, the true nature of ghosts. This is the anchor for everything going forward, isn't it?
This is the big one, the aha moment. Ghosts are not just lingering souls of dead people. That's the old idea.
Right.
The graphic novels explicitly confirm and sort of codify this theory that actually Danny's sister, Jazz Fenton, first proposed. Remember, she was studying the ghost zone?
Vaguely, yeah. What was her theory?
Ghosts are the literal, physical, spectral manifestations of intense, raw emotions.
Emotions like anger, love.
Exactly. Things like pure wrath, obsessive love, crippling fear, deep sadness. These really powerful psychic forces that the physical world, once it was split off, just couldn't contain anymore.
So these emotions kind of leaked out.
Yeah.
And became ghosts.
They sort of coagulated, became these spectral beings. The ghost zone became the dimension that could contain them.
Okay, hang on. If ghosts are emotions, how does that explain guys like Clockwork, Master of Time, or Vortex, controlling weather? Time and weather aren't emotions. How do they fit? That needs unpacking.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a bit more subtle. The idea extends beyond just human feelings. Think about it like this. Those intense emotions represent an imbalance, right? A lack or an excess that reality couldn't handle.
Okay.
Clockwork and Vortex. They represent the rejection of cosmic disorder. They're manifestations of the universe's need for things to be stable, for time to flow right, for elements to be, manageable. They embody cosmic laws, not human feelings.
Ah, okay. So they're like fundamental forces given form because the universe needed balance there too.
Yeah.
That actually explains a lot about the villains, doesn't it? Why some are so fixated.
Precisely. Look at the examples you see all the time in the show. Penelope Spectra. She literally feeds on teen misery. She has manifested emotional pain. Skulker. He's the pure embodiment of the drive to hunt, to conquer. Even Cujo, the ghost dog, he's born from simpler, raw, protective feelings. They're concepts made real, not just dead people.
Okay, that clicks. And if the human world and ghost zone are these incomplete halves, that gives Danny and Vlad, the half-ghosts, a whole new level of significance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Way beyond just fighting local ghosts.
It makes them figures of destiny. There's this warning in those ancient ghost zone texts. It's pretty stark. Earth without spirit lacks life, and the spirit without earthly tether will lose sight of the truth.
Meaning?
Yeah.
Both sides need each other. They're unstable alone.
Fundamentally, they're incomplete.
And the half-ghost.
Yeah.
He's the bridge.
Yes. A half-ghost, a human fused with that pure spectral energy, is like a tiny walking version of how the universe was supposed to be, unified.
Wow.
Their hybrid nature makes them cosmically important. They're potential living bridges, maybe meant to heal that ancient split. It's their destiny, whether they realize it at first or not, to mediate or maybe even reunite the two worlds.
Okay, that's a huge foundation. So with that cosmology set, let's track how we actually got the first modern half-ghost and the guy who becomes Danny's main problem. It started back in college, right? Wisconsin.
Yeah, we got to rewind about 2 decades before Danny was born. Think around 1984, University of Wisconsin-Madison. You've got this tight-knit group of paranormal researchers, Jack Fenton, Maddie Driscoll, and Vlad Masters. Super brilliant, totally inseparable, working on trying to build a ghost portal prototype.
But the vibes weren't totally academic, were they? Especially with Vlad.
No, the sources are really clear on this. Vlad Masters had this deep, singular, and ultimately kind of toxic romantic obsession with Maddie.
Just Maddie.
Just Maddie. He was so focused on her that he either completely missed or maybe just refused to see the obvious sparks flying between Jack and Maddie, that natural connection they had.
So the bitterness, the entitlement that was there before anything went wrong.
Absolutely. That resentment was already brewing. Vlad was already kind of predisposed to malice, he just didn't have the power yet to really act on it. Then came the accident. The first accident.
They finally turned the prototype on?
They did. And this is where Jack Fenton's signature trait kicks in. His, let's say, enthusiastic lack of attention to detail.
Right. He forgot something.
Overlooked a key stabilizing thingamajig. The portal malfunctioned. big time. And Vlad, he was standing closest, got blasted right in the face with pure, concentrated ecto-energy. Raw stuff.
Ouch. And that energy didn't just, like, knock him out. It changed him. Fundamentally.
Yeah, on a genetic level. But it wasn't instant superpowers. The immediate aftermath was brutal. He spent years in the hospital suffering from this condition he called ectoacne.
Ectoacne. Sounds unpleasant.
We really shouldn't downplay it. It wasn't just a bad breakout. It was this visible, painful, chronic disfigurement. The ecto-energy trying to either merge with or destroy his human cells. It was this constant physical reminder of the failure. And, in Vlad's mind, Jack's fault. Jack's betrayal.
So the power came packaged with years of real suffering, which just cemented his broken view of things.
Totally. And during those awful years, yeah, he discovered the energy wasn't all bad. He got ghost powers, flight, intangibility, invisibility, amazing abilities.
But instead of seeing it as, I don't know, a second chance?
Nope. His bitterness just festered, turned into this decades-long grudge against Jack, blamed him for the disfigurement, blamed him for stealing Maddie. He severed all contact and just disappeared, consumed by it.
So this really backs up that point. The accident didn't make Vlad evil.
Not at all.
It just gave an already bitter, entitled guy the supernatural tools to act on his worst impulses, with no real consequences for him.
Exactly. That 20-year gap between the accidents is so important. His villainy wasn't a sudden reaction. It was a choice. Long nurtured, calculated, fueled by his own delusions about what he deserved. He reinvented himself as Vlad Klasmius.
And how did he use being half ghost to become a billionaire? Seems like a leap.
Ghost powers are pretty handy for corporate espionage, turns out. He used overshadowing, intangibility, basically committed systematic theft and insider trading for years, completely undetected, built a massive fortune, founded Masters Industries. He spent those decades honing his powers not for good, but purely for revenge and getting Maddie back. That was the goal.
While the Fentons, totally oblivious, were just living life.
Pretty much. Jack and Maddie got married, moved to Amity Park, seemed like a normal town, had Jazz, then Danny, and kept working on their ghost research naturally. They eventually built that bigger, permanent ghost portal in the basement. Fenton Works.
The very portal where history was about to repeat itself, but with a very different outcome for the kid involved.
Precisely. Stage set for the awakening. 20 years after Vlad's accident, we hit the show's timeline. Danny Fenton's freshman year, and accident number 2.
Danny Fenton, age 14, just a normal, kind of awkward kid, right? No hero complex.
Not at all. Totally average freshman. And he only went near the portal because his best friends, Sam Manson and Tucker Foley, dared him or persuaded him to check it out. It wasn't even supposed to be working.
The irony being, his parents, in their usual chaotic genius way, had actually built it correctly this time, but missed the final on switch inside.
That was the fatal flaw, or fateful flaw, depending on how you look at it. Danny, wearing one of his dad's white jumpsuits, steps inside, his hand brushes against the wall, hits the internal on button accidentally.
And boom.
Portal roars to life, floods his whole body with that ecto-energy, fuses with his DNA, makes him the world's second known human ghost hybrid.
The sources say that first month was just sheer panic.
Total terror and confusion. He's got these powers flickering on and off, can't control them. Flying is more like falling.
Yeah.
Invisibility phases in and out. The absolute priority was just secrecy. Learning to manage these scary new abilities with only Sam and Tucker knowing.
And the status quo gets set pretty quick with his first real ghost fight.
Yeah, mystery meat. He takes on the lunch lady ghost. It's messy, he barely wins, but he does. He picks the name Danny Phantom, and that's the start. Amity Park's secret protector. But the ghost zone notices immediately. This new half-in appears on their radar.
Who were the first big challenges from the zone?
Well, his activity attracts Skulker pretty fast, the ghost zone's greatest hunter.
Right. Skulker doesn't see him as a threat, does he? More like a prize.
Exactly. A rare trophy to be collected, which ups the stakes considerably. At the same time, Danny starts getting a handle on key powers, like overshadowing, possessing people. He first figures that out in pure desperation to avoid trouble at a parent-teacher conference by possessing his own dad.
Classic. But the real game changer, the arrival of the main villain, is bitter reunions. The past comes calling.
That's Vlad's entrance. He shows up ostensibly for a college reunion, planning to woo Maddie, but he encounters Danny Phantom, easily beats the inexperienced kid, and then drops the bombs.
Reveals he's Vlad Plasmius, half ghost too, and reveals his burning hatred for Jack.
Yeah, It instantly locks him in as the archenemy. He's everything Danny could become if he went wrong. More powerful, more experienced, and totally corrupt. A dark mirror.
The show keeps building the world, too. Danny's first proper trip into the ghost zone reveals a weird rule about humans there.
Right, in Prisoners of Love, he gets captured by Walker, the ghost zone warden. And while he's locked up, he learns the physics are kind of flipped. Because the human world pushed out spirit, and the ghost zone absorbed it. When humans are in the ghost zone, they become the intangible ones, like ghosts.
Meaning the native ghosts can't physically hurt humans there.
Pretty much, it's like an inherent protection for visitors, a neat little twist.
And while all this is happening, his sister Jazz becomes his secret keeper.
Yeah, my brother's keeper. Jazz accidentally sees Danny transform, sees him fight Penelope Spectra, and she gets it, understands the huge weight on her little brother, but she makes this really mature, kind of painful choice not to tell him she knows.
She decides to protect his secret from the sidelines, watch over him.
Exactly. Without adding to his burden by letting him know she knows. It's a key character beat for her.
Freshman year also gives us the main human antagonist, Valerie Gray. And her origin is pure Vlad manipulation.
So tragic. Valerie's life basically gets wrecked by a ghost dog, Cujo, causing this accident that ruins her dad's job, costs them everything. She wants revenge on all ghosts. And then this mysterious benefactor anonymously gives her a high-tech ghost hunting suit and weapons.
Benefactor being Vlad, of course.
Of course. He creates her as a weapon, basically, a way to harass Danny, keep him off balance, and making sure she blames Danny Phantom for her problems. Strategic cruelty.
And the year ends with Danny becoming public enemy #1, thanks to Walker.
Yeah, Walker pulls off this mass ghost invasion of Amity Park, makes it look like Danny's leading it. Danny manages to stop the invasion, exposes Walker's scheme to the other ghosts, but the damage with the humans is done.
So despite saving the town,
Amity Park officially brands him public ghost enemy, #1. Freshman year ends with him being the town's secret savior, but also its most wanted menace. Perfect setup for things to get way bigger.
which they absolutely do in sophomore year. We go from local problems to cosmic stakes, fighting for time itself. And this shift is even marked visually, right, with his suit.
Yeah, the logo change is important. In that memory blank episode, there's this whole time hiccup. Danny loses powers and memories for a bit. And Sam, seeing the hero he's become, stitches the now famous DP emblem onto his suit right before he gets his powers back.
A symbolic rebirth.
Exactly. Marks him accepting who he is as he steps onto this bigger stage.
Let's jump to Rainstorm. Vlad's greed wakes up something ancient and nasty.
Oh, yeah. Vlad tries to steal these super powerful old artifacts from the Ghost Zone, the Crown of Fire, and the Ring of Rage. Bad idea. It's like poking a sleeping dragon. It accidentally wakes up Pariah Dark.
The original king of all ghosts, like the big bad of the Ghost Zone.
The ancient tyrannical king, yeah. Been sealed away for centuries, and he is not happy about being disturbed.
And his power level forces everyone to team up, right? Even enemies.
Totally. Pariah unleashes his huge skeleton army. It's an all-hands-on-deck situation. Danny has no choice but to form this shaky alliance with basically everyone. Vlad, Skulker, even Valerie Gray joins in just to stand a chance.
Managing that team must have been a nightmare. Friends and worst enemies fighting side by side.
You can imagine. But beating Pariah Dark, which Danny manages to do using the artifacts to reseal him, that changes everything for Danny's rep in the Ghost Zone.
How so?
It's huge. He goes from being seen as, like, this annoying newcomer or potential trophy to being a serious power player. Respected, definitely feared. He took down the Ghost King. That carries weight.
But the defining moment of sophomore year, maybe the whole series arguably, is the ultimate enemy, the moral crossroads, the dark future.
Definitely a peak. And the trigger seems so small, right? Danny's overwhelmed, thinking about cheating on the CAT test, the career aptitude test.
Just a high school test.
But to the observants, these timeless beings who watch all of reality, that choice, that little moment of considering taking the easy, dishonest path, they see it as the tipping point, the exact moment that guarantees a future where Danny destroys everything.
Wait, that specific choice. Cheating on one test. Why is that the cosmic deal breaker?
It's about the psychology, the precedent. If Danny, the half-ghost, the one meant to bridge worlds and sync balance, starts bending rules for himself, where does it stop? That internal corruption they fear will grow. It's the start of a slippery slope that leads to universal ruin. So Clockwork, the master of time, gets the order. Take Danny out. Prevent the catastrophe.
But Clockwork doesn't just zap him. He shows him the future first. 10 years later, ruined world. And his evil adult self, Dan Phantom, ruling it. We need to unpack Dan's origin. It's dark.
It's really tragic, actually. It perfectly ties together the show's core ideas. In that doomed timeline, things go horribly wrong. The nasty burger blows up. And Danny's family, Sam, Tucker, they're all killed.
Oh, God.
Danny is just broken, shattered. He goes to the only other person who might understand who has similar powers, Vlad. He begs Vlad to take away the pain, the human emotions.
And Vlad tries.
Yeah.
But messes it up.
Massively. Vlad tries to separate Danny's ghost half, probably thinking he can harness the power. But Danny's ghost half, fueled by pure grief and rage, is uncontrollable. It turns on Danny's human self, destroys it, and then forcibly overshadows and merges with Vlad's own ghost half.
Whoa. So Dan Phantom isn't just evil Danny. He's a literal fusion.
He's Danny's grief-fueled power, combined with Vlad's decades of calculated bitterness and malice. All the power and none of the humanity. A monster born from tragedy and evil combined.
That is incredibly grim and powerful. How does present-day Danny even fight that?
He has to dig deep, push his own ghost core way past its limits. The sheer stress and desperation unlock a new power. The ghostly whale.
The sonic scream thing. How's that different from his normal energy blasts?
His ectoblasts are like projected energy. The whale is different. It's him weaponizing his entire spectral essence, his very being turned into a sonic wave.
Sounds draining.
It completely wipes him out because he's literally pouring his core energy into it, but it's the only thing powerful enough to even slow Dan Phantom down.
Danny manages to trap Dan in the Fenton thermos. And Clockwork steps in to fix the timeline.
Yeah. Clockwork sees Danny faced his darkness, ultimately made the right choice not to cheat, and chose integrity. So Clockwork intervenes in the present, prevents the nasty burger explosion, saves the family and friends, wipes that dark future from existence.
And becomes Danny's guardian angel, sort of, watching over time.
Exactly. A silent temporal guardian, making sure things stay on track.
Okay, after that huge cosmic drama, the rest of sophomore year kind of settles back into more, let's say, local threats, but still escalating things.
Yeah, we get the clone saga. Vlad, still obsessed with having an heir, a family on his terms, creates Danielle Danny Phantom, a female clone of Danny.
But she's unstable at first.
Very. The cloning process was flawed. Her powers are erratic. She's physically unstable, designed to be loyal to Vlad, but she develops her own conscience.
And Danny ends up helping her, right? Almost like a big brother.
He does. Danny eventually chooses Danny's side.
Yeah.
And he uses the Fenton ectodejector on her. We need to be clear on what that gadget does. It's not just medicine. It stabilizes her spectral matter, makes her hybrid form permanent and functional, lets her go off and be her own person, finally free from Vlad.
Vlad doesn't just stick to clones, though. He goes political.
Yep. Uses his money and influence, runs for mayor of Amity Park, and wins. Becomes Mayor Masters.
Which gives him legitimate power over Danny.
Tons of it. Institutional power. He can pass anti-ghost laws, specifically targeting Phantom, use city resources to harass the Fentons with bogus inspections, generally make Danny's life miserable through official channels. Pure abuse of power.
And Danny's powers keep evolving, too. He gets ice powers.
That happens fighting Undergrowth, the plant ghost. Undergrowth is resistant to his usual energy blasts, so Danny gets pushed to the absolute brink physically, and that pressure. It forces his ghost core to adapt again, unlocks cryokinesis, ice powers.
Rooted in his core, like the whale.
Seems like it. A defensive adaptation that becomes a permanent tool in his arsenal. Shows his powers grow based on need, on challenge.
All this leads up to the original series finale, Phantom Planet. The ending that felt big at the time, but ultimately needed fixing.
It was definitely a climax. Vlad plays his endgame, creates the Masters Blasters, this team of ghost hunters using perfected Fenton tech. They're so effective, they basically make Danny Phantom seem redundant.
And Danny quits.
He's disheartened, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinks the world doesn't need him. He actually uses the Fenton's tech to separate his ghost half again, wanting to just be fully human, live a normal life.
But of course, a crisis pulls him back, the disasteroid.
Right. This giant asteroid made of ectoranium, basically ghost kryptonite, is heading straight for Earth. Threatens everyone, human and ghost.
Vlad tries to stop it, to be the hero.
He does. Reveals his identity, tries to phase it, but the ectoranium is lethal to him too. He fails spectacularly and just flees into space, a total coward in the end.
Leaving human Danny to figure it out.
Yep. And he comes up with this plan. Get all the ghosts in the ghost zone to work together. He convinces them if Earth goes, their spiritual anchor goes too. They need Earth.
Their combined energy saves the day.
Their collective ecto-energy reignites Danny's dormant ghost half, restoring his powers. And together, they phase the entire planet Earth, letting the disasteroid pass right through.
Wow. World saved. And Danny makes the huge call. Reveals his secret identity to everyone.
Globally. And he's hailed as a hero. Statues, fame, finally gets together with Sam. It's a happy ending for him, personally.
It's the narrative flaw.
Yeah. From a storytelling perspective, resolving that core conflict, the secret identity, it kind of killed the engine of the show. Where do you go from there? The fundamental tension was gone. It felt static. A narrative dead end for future stories.
Which brings us to A Glitch in Time. The graphic novel designed to hit the reset button by literally breaking time.
Exactly. We jump forward about a year. Danny's 16 now. And things are weird. His powers are glitching like crazy. Reality itself feels unstable, fractured.
And the cause is Vlad. Again.
Sort of. A desperate, maybe slightly repentant Vlad came back from space, tried to use Clockwork's time tower to fix his own past mistakes. But, clumsy as ever, he accidentally breaks the Fenton thermos that was holding.
And Phantom.
Oh, yes. The worst possible ghost is free. And Dan immediately goes for the biggest power source available.
Clockwork.
Attacks Clockwork, shatters his time scepter, and then forcibly merges with the Master of Time himself. Becomes this new god-tier entity. Dan Phantom fused with time control. That's the source of the reality glitches. He's corrupting the timeline.
How do they even fight that? Danny's powers are failing.
They go on a quest. Team Phantom, plus a very reluctant Vlad tagging along, journey deep into the ghost zone to its core. And there they get confirmation of everything we've discussed earlier, the emotional nature of ghosts, the great divide.
And this really hits Danny right, understanding his true purpose.
Profoundly, he realizes he's not just supposed to be fighting ghosts, he's meant to be the bridge, the mediator. It changes his whole perspective.
Which leads to Vlad's big moment, his redemption. It seems almost unbelievable for him.
It's shocking, but it tracks. In the final confrontation, Vlad has this moment of clarity. He looks at Dan Phantom, this being of pure rage and power, and realizes Dan's core emotion, the thing driving him, is the same as Vlad's own lifelong demon, fear.
Fear? Of what?
Fear of being alone, fear of being powerless, fear of irrelevance. It's the root of both their evils. And in this moment, to save Dan from completely destabilizing maybe, Vlad does the unthinkable.
He sacrifices himself.
Offers himself as a temporal anchor. He willingly fuses with the fading Dan Phantom permanently, giving this purely evil being a chance at something like redemption, maybe.
Yeah.
Guided by Vlad's consciousness now locked inside with him.
Wow. A selfless act from Vlad Masters, driven by recognizing his own fundamental flaw in his enemy. Okay, so Dan is contained. Sort of. Clockwork is restored. And Davey gets a choice.
Clockwork, back in control, basically offers Danny two doors, two possible futures. Danny has to choose which reality to restore.
And he chooses the one that saves the world from the asteroid.
Yes, protects everyone. But it comes at the cost of his public adoration. It restores his secret identity, puts things back the way they were, mostly.
He gives up being a global hero to bring back the necessary conflict for him to be a hero. That's mature for a 16-year-old dealing with cosmic stakes.
It shows incredible growth, right? He understands the burden now. His choice triggers the big retcon. The timeline resets. The world forgets Danny Phantom saved them. He's back to being public enemy Phantom, a perceived menace, back in the shadows.
But not everyone forgets, right? That's key for the reset.
Crucial detail. Danny, Sam, Tucker, Jazz. They remember the old timeline. And importantly, so does Valerie Gray. She had one of Clockwork's time medallions, protected her memory.
Why keep Valerie in the loop?
It's deliberate. That small group remembering maintains the history, but forces them to operate in this newly hostile reality. It restores all that juicy narrative tension the old finale smoothed over, sets up fair game and whatever comes next.
Okay, so now we're in the new canon. Post-glitch in time. Danny's 16. World hates him again, even though he secretly saved it. Sounds way harder.
It absolutely is. He's operating with this huge cosmic knowledge, the sense of destiny, but zero public support. And Amity Park itself has changed. That disasteroid threat, even if people don't remember how it was stopped, left scars. The town's become kind of paranoid, militarized.
Militarized? How?
It's seeped into everyday life. Casper High. The school curriculum now officially includes classes on anti-ghost tech, combat training.
They're training high schoolers to be ghost hunters.
Effectively, yeah. The whole student body is being armed and educated to fight ghosts. which makes Danny's life infinitely more dangerous. Every classmate is a potential threat now, even accidentally.
Valerie Gray. She remembers he's the hero, but she's publicly the star ghost hunter at Casper High.
That's the brilliant part of the retcon, narratively speaking. Valerie is in this impossible spot publicly. She's got to play the role, hunt Phantom, privately. She knows he's Danny Fenton, her friend, the guy who saved the world.
So she could be his most valuable secret ally, or his most dangerous enemy, because she knows his weakness.
Exactly. And she's got the best gear. It's incredibly complex and creates amazing tension.
And Danny's mission has evolved too, hasn't it? He's not just fight the ghost, stuff it in the thermos anymore.
That's the biggest internal shift. Now that he knows ghosts are these manifestations of emotion tied to the cosmic divide, his goal changes. It's not just about busting them for his parents.
He wants to understand them, help them.
He wants to understand their origins, yeah. Figure out why they exist, what emotion drives them, and maybe help them find peace. Become a true mediator between the worlds.
Which puts him directly at odds with Amity Park's new shoot-first mentality. He has to protect ghosts from humans now, too.
He has to protect everyone from everyone, basically. He's finally fully embracing that role as the bridge, the one the ancient texts talked about. The new canon pushes him back into the shadows, yeah. But his deeper understanding makes him a potentially more effective, certainly more empathetic hero. It sets up a much richer story going forward.
Wow, okay. So the whole journey, it was pretty epic when you lay it out like that. Accidental teen hero, local protector, then boom, cosmic stakes, destiny, facing his evil self, saving the world, losing the credit, and now embracing this deeper, harder role as a bridge between realities. All thanks to a deliberate retcon.
Yeah, the new canon really pulled it together, gave us that solid emotion-based cosmology. And Danny's growth is undeniable. He's not running from being half-ghosted anymore. He's leaning into it, tasked with healing not just Amity Park, but that ancient split in reality itself.
It is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
But we can end on that final lingering question from A Glitch in Time, Vlad's sacrifice. Fusing with Dan Phantom to anchor him, maybe redeem us.
Stunning act of atonement, yeah. Driven by finally recognizing his own core fear mirrored in Dan.
Right. But think about this, and this is for you, the listener, to chew on. Vlad is now a temporal anchor, locked in this permanent fusion with Dan Phantom, who himself had merged with the Master of Time. So if Dan was Danny's grief plus Vlad's malice, what exactly is the entity created by fusing Vlad's final act of atonement with the time god-powered Dan? Is that really the end for Vlad? Or did a glitch in time accidentally create some third, totally new cosmic being, maybe benevolent because of the atonement, maybe even more volatile, an entity the clockwork now has to silently watch over forever? What's the lasting ripple effect of that ultimate fusion on the Ghost Zone's stability?
That is a really interesting question to leave things on.